Turkey may actually cause two great end-time signs, the drying up of the Euphrates River and the Nile River. Right before the return of Jesus to fight Armageddon, the great Euphrates River dries up at the sixth bowl, allowing the armies of the kings of the east to cross into the Middle East and into Israel. The drying up has already started, and the nation of Turkey is behind it. Will Turkey cause the sixth bowl of Revelation and prepare Armageddon? That's what we're talking about today, and we're starting right now. Students of prophecy are familiar with this passage about the sixth bowl. The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings of the east. And for insight on this passage in today's video, we give a shout out to our community member Glenn for making me aware of this possibility that Turkey may be behind it. The Euphrates is a great river, stretching from its source in eastern Turkey through Syria and Iraq and terminating in the Persian Gulf. And the majority of its waters originate in the nation of Turkey. It is no small task, though, to dry up the Euphrates. It is the longest river in Western Asia at like 1,740 miles long. And the Euphrates is a biblically significant river too. It ran through the Garden of Eden and it ran through Babylon. And in addition, it was famously dammed up by Cyrus the Great to enable the Persians to enter and defeat the Babylonians in 539 BC by walking under the walls of the city on dry riverbed. So there is a history of a Middle Eastern king drying up the river. The Euphrates, though, isn't the only river to be dried up in the end times. In Isaiah, we read about the Nile. The river will be dry and parched, and its canals will become foul, and the branches of Egypt's Nile will diminish and dry up. Rushes will rot away. There will be bare places by the Nile, on the brink of the Nile, and all that is sown by the Nile will be parched, will be driven away and will be no more. The fishermen will mourn and lament, all who cast a hook in the Nile, and they will languish who spread nets on the water. The workers in combed flax will be in despair, and the weavers of white cotton. Those who are the pillars of the land will be crushed, and all who work for pay will be grieved. Isaiah is a lot more graphic than the Revelation passage, showing the dramatic economic impact on Egypt of the Nile being dried up. So Middle Eastern rivers drying up is a theme of the end times, one that very few people concentrate on. And as you are about to find out, the nation of Turkey will likely be behind both events. Yes, you heard that correctly. So let's see how that is. Turkey has constructed a series of dams which culminated with the Great Atarak Dam in 1990, one of the world's largest dams. And it could unintentionally be paving the way for the fulfillment of biblical prophecy within our lifetimes. The 554-foot-tall dam stands on the border of two provinces in southern Turkey. There is a historic precedent of Turkey using the dam in history to block off the river. Now, after finishing construction in 1990, Turkey blocked the Euphrates to fill up Lake Atarak, which is an artificial reservoir. Iraq, which is downstream, accused Turkey of weaponizing water at that point. Water, after all, is the most precious resource in the Fertile Crescent, even more valuable than oil. And in 2019, Turkey began filling up a second reservoir. The Iluso Dam on the Tigris River was blocked and caused another similar drought in Iraq. These dams have cut Iraqi water supplies by 50% even today. But more important is the effect of these dams on prophecy. It would be an easy thing for the Antichrist to shut off the Atarak and Iluso dams in the future, thus causing both of the major rivers of Mesopotamia to dry up downstream and allow the armies of the kings of the east to enter the Holy Land from the north. But what about the Nile? And what is the relation of Turkey to the Egyptian river? I mean, Turkey is like 1,000 miles away, right? Well, the idea is almost exactly the same as the Euphrates, the damming up of the river. The Nile is the second longest river in the whole world and is fed by both the White Nile and Blue Nile rivers, which join in the country of Sudan. Sudan has 3 major dams on the river, and Ethiopia has another one, a very controversial one that then U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to blow up to allow more water to flow to Egypt. Now, if an evil dictator like the Antichrist were to acquire these dams on the Nile, it would be a simple matter to cut Egypt off of all its water supply. If that person was Turkish, he would be in the unique position of being able to cause both the dried up rivers found in prophecy to dry up. That may be more than just a coincidence. So how can we be sure that a Turkish leader will someday have access to the dams in Sudan? Well, a simple examination of the alliance of nations in the Gog-Magog passage of Ezekiel 38 shows Sudan is part of the alliance headed by Gog, who is a Turk. Now, this may seem very unusual to you, so let's explain looking at the passage in Ezekiel. Thus says the Lord God, I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn you about and put hooks in your jaws, and I will bring you out and all your army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed in full armor, a great host. All of them with buckler and shield, wielding swords, Persia, Cush, and put with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his hordes, Beth Togarmah from the uttermost parts of the north with all his hordes, many people are with you. The passage is full of these ancient names for nations, Magog, Cush, Persia, etc. And it is the consensus of most scholars that Cush occupied the territory that is currently Sudan and possibly parts of Ethiopia. So Gog, the head of this coalition, would then control the Sudan and Ethiopian dams. But how can we know that Gog, who is the chief prince of Magog, will be a Turk? Well, it was assumed that he was a Turk by most Bible scholars throughout history. But within the last few years, research on the court records of the kingdom of Assyria has proved that to be true. Magog was a nation northwest of Assyria in Turkey, with whom the Assyrians had trade relationships. Magog appeared in the court records of Assyria, and from them, scholars have been able to prove that Magog was in modern-day Turkey. So Gog, who is the leader of Magog, will be a Turk. And you might be surprised to learn that Turkey is busy assembling the Gog-Magog alliance right now. Click here to learn how Turkey's pseudo-dictator Erdogan is using the Muslim Brotherhood and proxy wars to bring all these nations into a single coalition. Are we that close to the Gog-Magog war? Till then, this is Nelson, and I'll see you there.